Seattle is gearing up for one of its biggest celebrations of the year as Pride Weekend takes over the city, filling the streets and parks with parades, performances, and community events centered on visibility, advocacy, and celebration. But beyond the colors and the crowds, organizers say this year also carries a deeper focus on safety, inclusion, and the ongoing fight for LGBTQ+ rights. All of it coming during a shifting political landscape, both locally and nationwide. Joining us tonight is the Executive Director of Seattle Pride, Patty Hearn. Patty, big weekend for Seattle. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. It is a big weekend.
With hundreds of thousands expected for Pride, what does this moment really represent for the community right now?
You know, this moment represents something that is so important for us, which is coming together and celebrating together, and at the same time honoring the history of Pride, both in Seattle and across the country.
I think this is your third year with Seattle Pride. How has the event grown? How has it changed under your leadership?
You know, I think the first year I came on, it was the 50th anniversary in 2024, and that was all about celebration and joy. And then the past 2 years have felt a little bit different in the political climate in our country. So we've shifted a little bit in thinking also about resilience and resistance and protest alongside all of that celebration.
Pride, rather, is both, as you said, Pride is both celebration and protest. Given the political climate that you brought up, where do you see the balance between those two?
I think, you know, people say this and it can seem trite, but really joy is resistance. And so I think when we come together and we're joyful and we're celebrating and we're having fun, that's really the marriage of those two things together. And that's kind of what Pride's about.
Let's talk more about the messaging, especially with the national debates over LGBTQ+ rights. How are you messaging this weekend's events?
We are messaging this as a place for people, both local and who are visitors, to come together and join in celebrating and supporting LGBTQ people. And also, you know, our theme this year is rally, and we think of that as rallying. You know, when things are hard, you rally so that you can get up and keep going. It's also like the thing that happens before a protest march is the rally, where you come together and you talk and you hear about the cause that you're marching for.
Seattle Pride is so much more than just the parade and Pride Month. What do you want people to understand about the work that Seattle Pride is doing all year long?
You know, the work that we do all year long is related to the Pride Parade in that so much of Pride is about visibility and about community. And so what we're doing when we come together, whether that's marching through downtown Seattle or whether that is our youth programs or whether that is our arts and culture programs, we are about visibility, joy, community, coming together and advocating for the rights of all people.
For LGBTQ+ youth and for families who may be feeling uncertain right now, especially young people, what does this weekend, what do you want this weekend to say to them?
I want this weekend to say to them what Pride says, which is it's about, it offers an opportunity for a young person or anyone who feels alone in their identity or what they're trying to figure out, that we are here for you. We are a huge community of people full of love and joy and happiness, and that there is a place for you, and you're valid and you're valued and you belong here.
Seattle's also going to be in the global spotlight, as you know, with the World Cup match featuring Egypt and Iran, countries with anti-LGBTQ+ laws. So what are your thoughts about hosting the game on the same stage as Pride celebrations here?
You know, that is when we found out that there was to be a match the weekend of Pride, and then heard that it would be called the Pride Match, that was pretty exciting. And that was, of course, way before we knew which teams would be in the match this weekend. But I think this match, much like when we have Pride nights at any other sporting events or other arts and culture events, it's about bringing together people and letting them show up as their full, authentic selves. And so I hope that as people come and are celebrating this Pride Match, whether they're outside the stadium or inside the stadium, they can show up as themselves and have a great time.
And then finally, I guess a personal question. You are a voice for a lot of people who maybe don't have the courage to speak up or just haven't yet. Why do you do this work, Patty?
I do this work because I believe it is life-saving, and I think that because I think there are so many people who feel alone, who get rejected by their families, rejected by their communities, because of an identity that is theirs, that is who they are. And I think when we can show that it's actually just fine to be queer or trans or whatever part of the LGBTQ spectrum you might be, it is incredibly validating for people, and it can help them get through a time which can be really, really challenging.
We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Patty Hearn, Executive Director of Seattle Pride. I hope the weekend goes off without a hitch, and I hope that joy all around is what we all feel throughout. Thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.